Good afternoon. Welcome to Options Tender. It is Sunday. Happy Sunday, everybody. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. I'm really, truly excited about the market actually getting some moves this week coming here. I do think we're going to have our pullback here anytime now, and that should say wonders about what happens next. This next pullback is going to determine a big amount of information for us, and we're looking at two scenarios. So I have two things I'm really looking at for the market. I have a turnaround from here, and I'm going to show you these paths later on. I'm going to show you a couple of indicators on the daily time frames, and then we're going to go around the horn on the big tech stocks and show you what the alternative situation should look like. Should we not have a top in? Yes, I think we're going to have a local top no matter what. But if we don't have the top in, we're confined in a time frame because of the yield curve inversion. I think the timing says, hey, we're not going to explode to all-time highs and continue much, much higher. We're going into a new bull market. But I was just racking my brain. How can we get to all-time highs in a short amount of time, in a time period of 1 to 3 months? I'm looking out to that March area. In the earlier videos, we were looking at March as being the time for rate cuts. And the market doesn't have to turn in March, but March is when the market is looking from the FOMC site of having rate cuts. And so the yield curve inversion has been inverted for over 500 days, and it's getting towards the longest inversion yet. And I feel that this timing that we're just not going to, we're going to hit a recession, and we're not just going to continue higher for so much longer. But I wanted to give a scenario where, hey, this high might not be good. We might get a brand new high and then fail from there. Maybe even consider it a double top. Okay, but I'll show you that in just a second. If you're new here, go down to that bottom right-hand corner, hit that Options Center logo, and subscribe. We have lots of good information here. This video, we make these videos often, so hit that notification bell. And the best thing you can do for this channel is to like the videos. It truly appreciate it, and we want to keep putting this information out there. So we're looking at two scenarios here. So let's jump into SPY on the weekly time frame just to show you how the last week ended. Somewhat of a possible tweezer top setup. We made a higher high, and finally SPX, the cash market, hit a new high here. So that was some unfinished business that we were talking about last week. Saw it happening. We're bullish on Friday. Got that unfinished business by making the high because SPY had already done it earlier in the week. And the cash market did not. So that was really sort of putting a dilemma on some things. And now it can be much more clean. They both made their July new highs. So we're looking at a possible tweezer top. We'll have to see how this week ends, but this is a good setup, especially with all the negative divergences happening. Okay, moving down to the daily. This is where we're going to spend a little bit of time here. The daily trend is our friend. On this daily time frame, you see this pivot, this rising pivot. That comes from the 2018 megaphone. And it's worked really well. Prices oscillated around it, and it's held price as well. We're right into that with divergence right at this time. We're into supply. We have a little bit of room for Monday. If Monday wants to be a little bit bullish, to follow through from Friday, that's not unusual. And so, in a visual, in an optical point of view, it looks like, hey, maybe we want to fill out this wedge a little bit more. We already completed all of the necessary check marks to say we could have a top in and that we head lower. That's our one situation. Now, optically, if we hold maybe this pivot or the trend line down low, it doesn't have to go that deep either way. But if we hold one of these pivots, one of these supports, and we go for higher highs, it is possible that we go to get new all-time highs. Now, we would have some resistance here at the wedge, but this is really just a pivot, you guys. There's only 2 points here. This is not a valid trend line. You need 3 points or more to be a valid trend line. So price can get on top of this, eke out a new high, and then we would consider it a fake break from this wedge. You get an overthrow, break back down, and then you could break down that way. Those are the 2 ways that I'm looking at. Breaking down from here, making a new high, and breaking down from there. Okay, so that gives you a visual. Now, where do we find support? There's a couple different places. We can find support here at the 443. We're going to look at some other visuals here. But 443 looks like a good one. We have some pivots. And then down here at 430 also looks good. 443, 430, and down below this pivot here. Now, it looks like a trend line, but you have 2 points. That holds, then it becomes a valid trend line. Maybe we go higher, maybe we break down. We'll have to see what the actual market structure looks like as we unfold this retracement as well. So looking at, let's empty out this board so we can see things in a different way. We have our on-balance volume. See volumes fading as this move is rising. To me, that's bearish. I do think this is a bearish move. I do think the top is in. That's our primary situation. And we head much lower. We're not getting, after all of this move, all of this, look at the on-balance volume. It says nothing. This is a massive move to the upside. Huge move down here and barely a liftoff from any of this move. That to me says not a very strong move. Checking out the volume profile. Looking at this volume profile, you see we have a node here. I said that kind of weird. Node at that 434 area. So that makes for a very good area for at least a bounce. Okay, that doesn't mean that the retracement ended, but we should expect a bounce around this node here, this volume shelf around 434, and that's coinciding with that with the level 443, 431, and for this pivot right over here. Could be 434. And then underneath there, we have really our point of control, and that's where we bounce off of. So you see we have this kind of black hole here where we could fall underneath the 434. A lot of times when you have these nodes, price will get right under there. So we're looking at that 430 support, poke through there and head higher, or just a bounce. But just know that there's a lot of volume in this area, and that's at former high. Low here, it's a zone, and the low here and the high here. Lots of points here right around that volume node. And if price makes it all the way back down, you certainly can expect a bounce no matter what around this huge pivot. This VPOC or just POC, point of control, on the daily time frame here as well. So you have two main areas looking from this point of view. From the money flow index, huge move, finally got in the red area. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, you either form divergence or you make it to that point and you turn directly from there. Made a slight divergence here as well. We already made our divergence. As a matter of fact, we have to extend that divergence because we made a new high on Friday. So we have a big divergence. It could diverge again if it needs to. You see, back here, when you had such a major top, if we're making a major top here, we can pull back, just like we're talking about, just pulling back and make some sort of last move to all-time highs and make another divergence. So divergence happened. It happened again, another divergence. And then we pulled back and made another lower high and then a higher high in price. So this is possible that we finally pull back a little bit more and then we make a lower high while pulling back and making a higher high here and possibly even all-time highs. I'm giving you an alternate scenario. I think the top is in here, but with all these divergences. But we have to watch out for the alternate situation where price holds because it's very valid. We had all these breakouts from possible bull flags and things like that, and we already made our high off of it. But we'll see. We'll have to see if there's a back test to those sort of flag type formations. Back test in high, a new high. All right. Hope that makes sense. Accumulation, distribution, my volume. Distribution all the way, baby. We're making a divergence, made a high, made a higher high in price, a lower high on the volume distribution. Shaken oscillator. These are all volume based indicators, you guys. Made a high. Oh, we had some divergences earlier too, but we're making our divergence here at the high. Lower highs, higher highs in the prices. Again, it's a signal for at least a turnaround, possible bounce and higher. But either way, and we're going to look at this pathway here in just a second. Now that we went through these indicators, they're all saying, hey, we have divergence. We're looking for a turnaround. This might be the big one. If not, then if we have to make all-time highs, we're going to make more divergences. We're going to head lower. So what I want to do now is show you the couple of pathways. And I'll show you this one first is the top is in. This is my primary count. You have your A. The top is in. A or 1. Doesn't matter. B is in or 2. And we head lower. We're going to look for an impulse wave down to either in with a C or continue lower as it get a bounce 4 or 5, continuing on down as a larger degree impulse. All right, now let's show you the alternative, and I'll just pull up a different. I want to pull up this ending diagonal. If you want to look this up, you can look up the rules here. I just found this site. There's all kinds of sites that'll show you this pattern. It's the ending diagonal. I'm not going to go through the rules of it, but here is your ending diagonal. It's a motive wave with a 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 wave move for an ending. And so this is my alternate scenario that we're trying to put in for you. So let's go. Can I pull up my screen again? Okay, so let's change the board here. Let's go to the ending diagonal situation. I mapped this out so it should be very clear. This says this is wave 4 here, that this is the top of wave 3. We have wave 4, and we're looking for a 5 wave move, all in 3s as an ending diagonal up top here. And getting a little closer in so we can see. All right, so we have ABC for 1, ABC for 2, ABC for 3. 3 cannot be the shortest. It's already longer than 1, so a 5 can be anything. ABC for 4. which crossed over one. We have our A already in, and these are usually zigzags. So these are forming zigzags the whole way, right? So we have our A zigzag, our impulse. We're agreeing that this is a 5-wave move now. This 5-wave move could have ended this ABC, and I have an ending here on my other one. So it doesn't matter which one you're looking at. When you have this larger A in the turquoise, the B, and then you have an impulse wave for C. So either wave fits the scenario. And then we're looking for, if we need to get a new top, this isn't how it's going to go. We don't know how deep this pullback is going to be, but we have our A in. We're going to get some sort of B. It can be a triangle. It can be a flat pattern. It can be anything. It can be a sharp move down. It can be a zigzag. It can be shallow. And then we get our 5-wave impulse move to the upside. All right, so that will signal, and that's going to give us new all-time highs. Now, I have a couple time indicators here as well. So if I pull back out on here, this scenario, the alternate scenario where we get a new high here, and possibly A can equal C. So we'll measure that out later as well if that's the case. But we have some timing here. Now, if the market wants to turn in January, we have a lot of timing aspects right in the beginning to middle of January. So all this would have to happen within that time frame. And then we have more in March. Okay, so we have this window, 3-month window, or 4 if you're counting from here, 4-month window where we're looking for a reversal. So we have that sort of time in order to do these things that we have to do here. Now, if we get a really deep pullback, then I think March would be much more appropriate to make a new high. I know this move here was just massive within three weeks. So anything's possible. And then if we get a shallow pullback and just start ripping for the last impulse wave, this January could be a big move. So let's keep this timing in mind, because even if we have some sort of deep wave B, and this needs to take time, we have a January 7th time frame, so that gives us a few weeks to pull back. All right, it's notable. It's notable that these times come about. They work very well. This one happens to be high to high to high. There's also lows to lows. These are just relationships. So we're looking for a pullback no matter what. And then whatever happens within these time frames, these could be reversal signals. So if we're still down low while this timing comes into effect, then that could be our possible reversal point. And so when we're looking out to March and we're already way up top, we'll be looking for these relationships. We have this one on March 4th. If we're way up top here, making all-time highs, and March 4th is coming in, and we have negative divergences and things like that happening, we'll be looking around this point for a reversal, and that being the new top. All right, just giving you some scenarios. This is the alternate scenario. The primary scenario is that this wave is over, and that we're looking for, and this is the confusing part that we won't be able to tell what's happening, is this tops in, we get a pullback. Either scenario, you get a pullback, but do we shoot to all-time highs, or do we fail on a lower high, and that sets up a much deeper retracement or move, not necessarily retracement, but much deeper move. And then now if we make these new lows under here, that's the nail in the coffin. So that's what we'll be looking for. We're looking for the pullback. How deep does this go? And do we fail at that point? And if we bring in another visual, remember, this whole big move here is just getting tighter. The moves are getting tighter. We're possibly setting up we get a bounce. We're going to get tighter moves into the new year. And so we're probably not going to move very, very far. These are big swings in the short terms, but you'll see price getting tighter before it starts moving to highs or moving to lows. So we're going to kind of have an apex somewhere around here after a couple move and a bounce, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's going to take time to play out. Now, I'm going to go around the horn and give you the scenarios. I'll start with the Qs. And, this is my growth portfolio. How do you like that? Okay, so we have the same thing happening with the Qs. Now, as a visual, if you get that alternate scenario, all we're doing is pulling back, retesting this bull flag, and heading to possibly all-time highs. That's all I want to show you in each and one of these scenarios. Apple would just be getting a pullback after breaking out from this pennant, possibly hitting this pivot here, getting all-time highs. Amazon, we're not looking for all-time highs, but for this corrective move to complete. I think it is possibly completed here. This is 62% retracement. We get a pullback. The alternate scenario, we bounce in one of these areas. We have the valid trend line here. We have a beautiful support here. So either way, we're looking for a bounce and possibly a last move up here to the point of control. That would be a coincidence, huh? Meta, I think this is expanding, ending diagonal. All this would be saying is that it's not over yet. This could be complete here. We can count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all in 3 waves. But this is possibly maybe that this is all a 1, 2, 3. Get more of a pullback into the green zone, the 300 point, and then 4 and 5. So just expanding, getting larger moves. That would fit the alternate scenario. Google, same kind of thing. This diagonal broke down. We think it's just a back test, but with all the Gemini, this and that, maybe we have a little bit more to go to reach a local high here in the alternate situation. Microsoft, super strong. It does have some room to pull back if this is possibly an impulse move. That this is a 1, 2, had a wave 3, and we're pulling back for 4. Get some more correction here before making another all-time high on impulse wave 5. Tesla, Tesla is really a key player in this. We're not expecting all-time highs, just like Amazon, but we do have a 3-wave move into the 62% retracement. Also the nice resistance here, but we have some sort of flag forming. So if the market wants to pull back really deep, and let's say we make a new low here in Tesla, we still have sort of a flag or at least a channel of a downtrend here where you could count this as a leading diagonal. So no matter what, the market's going to get a bounce, right? So if this leads down, possibly we just retrace some of this move and we really start heading lower. That's just a scenario. Now, if we get all-time highs in the market, then perhaps this is just an A. We get some sort of B, and we find maybe a higher low here. We're setting up possibly a higher low, and we break out from this channel, and we get new highs into for Tesla, possibly into the 786. It's somewhere in this consolidation zone here. So we'll be looking out for that. We're going to play this both ways. We like Tesla. We're short Tesla right now. We'll take off some profit coming into possibly this 213 area, looking for a higher low. If it continues to move down in weakness, then great. Then we would be looking for some sort of lows down here in this pocket, in this zone here, the 200 all the way down to the 180, and at least at minimum a bounce before heading lower. That one's a little bit more unique. And then NVIDIA, just a massively strong move, but really it's just been moving sideways since. We're in a sideways channel. You can look at this as a bull. You can look at this and say, well, we broke out from a flag, and it already is back testing that flag, and it goes higher from here. Now we break down from the flag, and then I'm just going to, erase this. I'll just delete this and really focus on this channel, because the channel is what really matters, whether we break out to new all-time highs or not. Anything else in between is chop. So if we are weaker in the market and NVIDIA actually starts to go lower, we'll be expecting another bounce at this point, at minimum a bounce before failing lower. Otherwise, this thing could it could do some different things. It could just be powerful and start breaking out from. So if we get above this channel, we're going to play NVIDIA long into some new highs up there, possibly up to 600. Yes, 600. Okay, so those are my visuals there. Last is the VIX, and then we'll move on from there. We'll talk about one last thing. We made new lows. We made new lows in the VIX. So we have all sorts of divergence here. We're gonna get a bounce. Are we gonna get a bounce just to back test this wedge that happened and then head lower? That's gonna be the exact opposite of the market. So all-time highs, new lows in the VIX, or possibly, well, this is the stuff we'll have to look at. Possibly the VIX moves up, makes a higher low while the market makes all-time highs, and then heads further and breaks out from this channel. There's a couple different things the VIX can do, because the market can continue higher while the VIX does not make new lows, causing a divergence, and that could mark our top for the market. And just going to show the rates. We're looking for a possible bounce. Really, we had this major trend line. It looks like we do have a reversal. I do think we have a reversal in, but possibly we just back test this trend line, and then we have to really look at what the market is doing. Right now, we're correlating. So with TNX, the 10-year treasury rate starts back testing, the market's going correcting and going down. We've had that sort of inverse correlation so far, but there's going to be a time when TNX, the rates go down and the market goes down with it. That's going to be our real big clue. That's going to be that situation where we're really starting to accelerate to the downside in the market with the recession. So either way, we're going to get a bounce here that's going to be negative for the market. And then possibly we start, getting a bounce with rates starting to head down, but the rates start breaking much lower and the market starts going with it. So that's what I'm looking at for that. The dollar, overall, the dollar looks pretty bullish here. It has a higher low after this huge correction into major support, breaking out, back testing, and I think this one goes for new recent highs. That'll be a flight to safety, in my opinion. That's what I want to show you. Don't forget to like the video. Really appreciate you guys watching. If you watch this all the way through, it's a lot of good information. And now we can take these videos, and this is what we do here, is we build a story. We have those two scenarios for the market. We can build a story off of those. And if the storyline changes anytime soon, that's why we do these videos so often, so we can update and we can trade and make money and hopefully stay with the trend. All right. Thanks for joining us here at Option Center. Have a wonderful day. We will talk to you tomorrow.